MeMe's Kitchen. Well, it's a beautiful Monday, and I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We certainly did, and we just had more than our share to be thankful for this year. And so it's a beautiful day and just a wonderful time of year. Right now, we've already finished Thanksgiving now, so we're pressing on toward Christmas. And when Christmas comes, we know there's always a lot of times you want to have all these little special things, either in your kitchen to serve when people come in, or to take to your neighbors, or to a shut-in, or someone that you want to give something to, but you can't buy a personal gift, so you just like to give them something out of your kitchen. And so today, if you have my cookbook, turn to page 74. And the first thing, we're going to do two things today. The first thing are these little cheesecake cupcakes. Now this is super simple. 4 ingredients. It calls for 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, and 5 eggs, and then vanilla flavoring. So that is it. So we'll go get these mixed up and put them in the oven, and you bake them on 300 degrees for about 40 minutes. So we're gonna get started. So I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, I have my cream cheese. It's softened. I'm gonna pour my sugar in there and mix it up just a little bit. I won't try to talk to you because it's noisy. Okay, we're gonna add our 5 eggs. Y'all, this is really easy, and it's something that's great to have on hand. And it's just like cheesecake, but it's just real easy because you've got them in the little cupcakes, and you can serve that a little bit easier, and you don't have to mess with the crust. So I had to put mine in water because I forgot to take them out this morning, so they'd be at room temperature. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add my vanilla. It calls for a cup, and I mean a teaspoon, golly, a teaspoon and a half. That should be about right. Of vanilla, so you don't need to listen to this mixer, so we'll be right back. Okay, we've got that mixed. Now I'm going to tell y'all, this makes 24 cupcakes. Well, I don't know what happened to my other cupcake pan, but today when I started taking these out, I looked, I only had 1 cupcake pan. So we're gonna have to bake part of them and then bake the rest of them. So we'll be right back. Okay, we've got these filled now, and I'm gonna stick them in the oven on the bottom rack. And I'm gonna set the timer for 40 minutes. Now I'm going to check them though before that 40 minutes is up and kind of see how they're doing, because my oven cooks fast, if you know what I'm talking about. And everybody knows their oven, how it cooks. Some just cook slow, some cook fast, but I always have to check mine about 5 minutes or so before the time is up, so I'll be sure. So I've got those in the oven. Now we'll be right back, and the next thing we're going to make is pralines. And we'll talk about that just as soon as we get back. Okay, now, section number 2. This is actually one of the very first videos that I ever made. And I look back over that video to critique myself, and I would have to say that I do think I am doing my videos a little better. That time I had to measure everything out of the bag. I mean, I didn't have anything ready. And so I have learned since then to have all my ingredients measured out so that it's easy for you to follow along and see the actual measurements. And so that makes it a lot easier for all of us. Now, this is also in the cookbook. These are called Pralines, and it's on page 103. And if you ever go to a coastal town, particularly Charleston or Savannah, one of the things that you will always see are pralines. And so it's just kind of one of those things that you expect, and a lot of people, that is the first thing that they get when they get to Charleston and they get to one of the candy stores. But you can make your own. And you can share them with your neighbors and with your friends and whoever. And I can tell you this, you will be a popular person. So, all right, this calls for 1.5 cups of brown sugar. All right, 1.5 cups of regular sugar. And this works better with a wooden spoon, and Lord, mine is so old. All right, and then 1 cup of evaporated milk. Now be sure you can use any brand. This is Pet. It was what was on sale. And it's evaporated milk. So be sure to get the right kind of milk now. I'm not going to confuse you by saying the other one. All right, and then it calls, I wish it called for a stick of butter, but it calls for 2 tablespoons of butter. All right, and then it calls for 3 tablespoons of dark Karo syrup. So we'll just get these in there. This syrup is actually the Karo brand, but you can use any brand. It doesn't matter. Usually I use the Walmart brand, but they were out of it, and so I ended up with that. So, and now it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So that's a guesstimate. All right. Now, before we started, I went ahead and toasted my pecans. And when you buy your pecans, I want you to look at these now. Be sure to get you a nice, meaty little pecan. You don't want the ones that are shriveled up, and so be very selective. This time of year, sometimes it's easier to find the ones that the grocery stores themselves package. Because if you buy the prepackaged ones, I don't know, sometimes you're getting last year's pecans and they're not good quality maybe. Always be sure you can see what you're buying when you're doing candy and when you're doing things that make a difference, that the pecan is going to be part of the real taste of it. So just look and don't buy something that you can't see what it looks like. And so that's what these came. And they were just in a little, kind of like a meat tray with just a clear covering over them. And so that way I knew that they were good. Okay, now then, we are going to put the stove on, on my eye. It is medium high, but it is 6. And so what we're going to do is just mix all of this together. Let them get acquainted with one another in there. And so we are going to let this heat up. Now it'll take it a few minutes to heat. I'd say probably 3 or 4 minutes. And so when this comes to boil, we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll finish the pralines. Okay, I did want to tell you about toasting these pecans. Now, I put them in the oven on 350 for 10 minutes. Now, don't cook them any longer than that, because if you do, they just kind of have like a burned thing. So when you're toasting pecans in the oven, like when, I'll show you one time how to do the salted toasted pecans. You toast them low and long. But for this, if you set your timer, I set my timer exactly on 10 minutes, so that when that was up, I just took them out of the oven. So they are ready to go in the candy. Now I want to show you what I was talking about. The grocery store where I go, they have these packaged, and I have all ideas that, let's see where these are from. Oh, y'all will be proud. They're from Dallas, Texas. And so, anyway, I was going to bet that they were Georgia pecans, but anyway, they're from Dallas, Texas. So I want you to see now that you can see very clearly what you're getting. And I do by the halves. Now these come in pieces also, but that's not good for candy, because you got to, you want it to look pretty as well as taste good. So that's what I was talking about when I said you want to be able to sure you see what you're buying. Oh, he's still on. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is just getting ready to boil. You can tell because, see, the butter has melted. So now what we're going to do, now I don't use a candy thermometer. A lot of people do, and that's fine. But I've just never used a candy thermometer. And I just always use the water test. And so that's what we'll be using today. But if you've got a candy thermometer, you want this on the soft boil stage is where you want it to come to. So I just kind of like to look and feel to see what the candy's like. And so, see, this is getting ready. You can tell it's already getting ready to start bubbling. And when it does, then we're going to cook it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. We'll time it and see about how long it takes, but you don't go really on time. You go on the soft boil stage, and so we'll be looking for that as soon as this starts coming to a boil, and that should be very quickly. All right, now you want to bring this to a slow boil, so you don't want to turn that out real high. So that has taken about 8 minutes for this to come to a boil. And so now we're just going to let it boil here for a little bit. Stir it occasionally. And then after it's boiled about, 3 or 4 minutes, then we will check it in the water and kind of see what stage it's in. That way we'll be able to kind of tell about how much longer it's going to take. So we just go let this boil and do its thing, and we'll be right back. All right, now I want to show you this. All right, see, this has just started boiling. It's boiled exactly 1 minute. All right, now I want you to see how that comes off the spoon. See, it just comes off very quickly and pours in a steady stream. So we'll see now as this continues to boil how it gets thicker and thicker, and then you'll be able to tell almost without testing it when it's at that stage where we're going to take it off and beat it to death. We'll be right back. Right over here. Okay, now I want to show you this so that you'll be able to tell when we get to the stage where it needs to be. All right, we're going to drop this in the water. All right, now you see how that just kind of separates? It just is all over the place. You could not make a little ball out of it. So we're going to empty that out and let this continue to cook. Okay, let's take a look at our little cream cheese muffins and cupcakes. All right, see, they're not quite done. See, they're beginning to crack though, all around, and these crack a good bit. So, there's still 7 minutes left for them to cook. So we're gonna let them cook for 7 more minutes. Okay, now I want you to see what the difference is and see how much thicker that is when it comes off that spoon, and now it's dripping very slowly. So we know that it's getting close. So let's test it now in the water. Now, what we want to be able to do is to make a little ball out of this without it separating. And see, it's pretty much there because it's not all over the bottom of the bowl. So, we'll test it one more time. See, it's staying together, except where I dropped it over there. But see, now that stays together. So that is good. So we're going to cut the eye off. We're going to add our vanilla. And y'all, I don't measure this vanilla. I've been cooking for so long. All right, now we're going to add these pecans. And that, all right, now we're going to mix that together. And that sits for 10 minutes to cool. And so we just go leave it like it is right in the pot. We're just not going to bother with it. And in 10 minutes, I'll show you how we start beating it and getting it to the consistency that we can put it out into the little patties that make the pralines. So we will be right back because it's almost time to take our cream cheese cupcakes out. Okay, our cupcakes are ready. So we're going to put them right here. Now, we're going to let those cool. And if you'll remember, this summer we made some strawberry jelly. And so when they cool, they sink just a little bit in the middle. And we're going to fill that middle with that strawberry jelly. Ooh, it's going to be good. Okay, our 10 minutes is up now of the cooling period. So I just want you to kind of see what this looks like. Now, at this point, all you do is you just keep stirring this and beating it and stirring until it starts getting a thick consistency. Now, I've had a lot of people say, oh, can you do that with a mixer? Well, evidently not with the pecans in it. But if you want to try to get this thick before you put the pecans in it, you're welcome to try. But I personally beat it with my wooden spoon, and I'll keep beating this, and I'm going to set my timer here, let's see, on 10 minutes. And then we'll see how long it actually takes. So you don't need to just sit there and watch me beat this candy. So what I'll do is I'll just keep stirring, and then when it gets to the right consistency, we'll come back and we'll see how many minutes it was. So this is just one of those little things you have to do. So we just go work on this, and we'll be back in a little while. Okay, now I want you to look at this and see it's beginning to lose its gloss, and that is one of the things that you're looking for. And you want it thick enough so that when you put it out on your paper that it doesn't look like a pancake. So let's just try a spoonful of this and let's see what it looks like. That looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I was beating that for 7 minutes, and that's about how long it takes. Now, I would have to say once you start this, you need to work pretty fast because it will get thick on you, but if it gets too thick, you can add a tiny bit of water, just like a few drops of water. Now, for you girls that have children in school, if you want to give the teacher something other than hand lotion and
a candle.
or any kind of body lotion gift, body wash, just all those kind of things, you know, that you get when you're a candle, when you're not sure of what to get a person. I'm going to tell you, you give them these, your child will get preferential treatment. So, they'll remember you. And you can make these kind of as big or as little as you want. See, it's getting thick quick. So we're going to get this out of here as quick as we can. You know, these are not that hard to make, as you can see. It's not, whoo, that's a big one. Give that one to the principal, or the assistant principal. That's because my granddaughter's husband is an assistant principal. So, give him the big one. Oh, y'all. I'm going to tell you. You people from Texas, y'all can be proud of these pecans. I didn't even know that pecans came. Well, I guess I did know they came from. I'll tell you what, let's add a little bit to that one, a little bit to this one, and a little bit to that one. Okay, now. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, now see, it really didn't take us all that long. These are the little cream cheese cupcakes, and oh, you could put those like in a little box or on a little plate and cover them. I found these cute little boxes at Hobby Lobby. I guess at Hobby Lobby's everywhere. And so that would just be real neat just to fold in. And if you just wanted to give a couple of things to somebody, you know, just see, tie that with a little piece of ribbon. This is just a little bag of the pralines, and so it is just something that you can give, and it really doesn't take that much work. And so we have all of these. So this gives you a good jump start, and these pralines can be made ahead. Not like a month ahead, but you can make them a week ahead. And because sometimes they do kind of dry out, and then they would not be as pretty as they are when they first come out. So it gives you something, an idea of something that you can give your neighbors, your friends, your school teachers, just whoever you would like to remember with something homemade. Now, I did want to tell you, my son is doing good. And this past Thanksgiving, we were especially thankful, as we always are, but this year we just had just a little more to be thankful for. So he is making good progress. He goes Wednesday to Charlotte for his checkup, and everything is going good. So we're expecting good results from that checkup. And so he's not out in the public yet. And in fact, he can't even be here with the family yet, the full family. But his family was with him for Thanksgiving, and we were here, and I made them dressing and, you know, all that kind of stuff that you make for Thanksgiving. So this gives you a head start on your stuff for Christmas, and that's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 or 3 videos of things that, that you can fix for treat bags and things for people that you love and that you want to remember. So I hope you have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the week. Here it's supposed to warm up in South Carolina, and we always like that kind of weather report. So have a good night, a good week, and everybody shine for Jesus.